The Halloween franchise is one many are familiar with. Whether you've seen a Halloween movie or not, you definitely know this guy. Best known as the Slasher King, as he was one of the founding fathers of slasher movies, alongside Psycho's Norman Bates and Texas Chainsaw Massacre's Leatherface. However, Michael Myers has stood the test of time, still being regarded as widely popular and frightening amongst those who don't want to marry him. Anyways. With Michael Myers being so popular, obviously that would lead to the movie becoming movies. Although John Carpenter may have already planned for sequels, but I don't know that information myself. I personally believe that Carpenter had planned for Halloween to be a standalone, with Michael being as he was described in the film, the boogeyman, just for one film and maybe reappear in the future. However, this is not the case, as Michael Myers has 11 movies, alongside 2 made by Rob Zombie. This dude has 13 movies. And guess what? Only 4 of them are canon. And in an interview, John Carpenter explained why he wanted to remove the Michael and Laurie sibling connection, because them being siblings explains why Michael wanted off Laurie, but it took away from the fear factor of the babysitter stalker. You see, if you aren't siblings with Michael Myers, why should you be afraid of him if he only wants to end his sister? So John had the whole franchise rebranded with the release of Halloween 2018, which this film is beautiful. However, I paid no attention to it when it released because I thought it was just another bad modern retelling of a beloved 80s horror icon. I'm looking at you, Freddy. Which, might I add, that Nightmare on Elm Street was not bad, but it definitely wasn't great. So I have reason to believe that Halloween had a rocky revamp, but that wouldn't last long. As in 2021, the sequel Halloween Kills was released and the fans came sprinting back to the franchise. And from there, we got Halloween Ends, which had our perfect Michael Myers replacement just for him to get bodied. So why am I telling you all about this? Well, because I think I had a better ending for the Halloween franchise. Yeah, you heard me. I am challenging Hollywood today, and I fully believe I will win this battle. Now, let's get into that. Remember when I mentioned that I believed that Halloween was going to be a standalone with a continuous franchise? Well, this ending of mine follows that theory. Say we go with what we have, Halloween 2018, Kills and Ends, but Ends has a completely different story. In the original, we get introduced to Corey, the best character besides Michael Myers in this franchise, but his introduction is very bizarre when it comes to this franchise. See, as the new movies rolled out, we saw one continuous theme with Michael's patterns. Michael never attacked children. Yes, he would scare and stalk them, but he never attacked them, and we even see Michael in the recent movies approach a baby, leave it, and go after the adults in the house. So Michael does not hurt kids, not until Halloween Kills, when he starts going after Allyson and her friends. But they're teens, so do they count as kids? In this franchise, no. Because Laurie and Judy Myers were both teens when Michael got them, and he attacked teens throughout the whole series. But when we meet Corey, his first offing was a child. Granted, it was an accident, but still a child, and from there, he never does that again and only attacks older adults from then on. And I found that worth pointing out, since Corey started as an adult taking out a kid stuck in the house on Halloween, and Michael started out as a kid stuck in the house on Halloween taking out an adult that was supposed to be taking care of him. It's a sharp contrast of babysitter killer to the killer babysitter. However, when we see Michael in Halloween Kills, he does, in fact, go after 3 kids. But get this. They're all dressed in the Halloween costumes from Halloween 3, where we are introduced to Silver Shamrock, a movie where Michael is a movie character, completely fictional. This is how I developed my theory of a standalone Michael Myers movie. Halloween 3 introduced a whole new world and characters, but still told a terrifying story with Michael thrown in there somewhere. I believe that Halloween was supposed to follow this exact formula, kind of like Goosebumps, but for older audiences. But why have Michael be the starter of the series? Because Michael isn't the one we should be afraid of. It's the Shape. The Shape is the entity that gives Michael his extreme strength and resilience. The Shape is supposed to move around from host to host, world to world. Imagine the Shape as like a virus. So, back to Halloween Ends. We see quite a few candidates for the Shape's host as Michael is physically falling apart at this point in time, and living in a sewer, which I think is a callback to Halloween Resurrection, arguably the worst film in the franchise, and yes, it is because Busta Rhymes karate kicks Michael out of a window and wins the day. So when Halloween ends, we have Laurie, Allyson, and Corey, who could all house the Shape. And we do somewhat see this with Corey as he tries to become Michael's pupil and carry on his work after the shape leaves his body. And this works for a while, but Michael decides to take back his mask after Corey fights him for it and wins, to which the battle between Michael and Laurie takes place, with Laurie winning. But this is not how it should have gone. After I watched Halloween Kills, I made 2 theories from 2 scenes in that movie. The first being that the shape will take over Laurie and she will off Allyson and anyone else she loves, only for Michael to come in while she is defeated and off her himself, winning the battle. The other theory was that Allyson would take on the shape, and this could have worked, even though I did not like the idea. Basically, Allyson loses both of her parents, her friends, and her boyfriend within like 2 days, so that makes it easy for the shape to take over. And then, she would either be Corey's stand-in or simply take over for Michael. And after seeing the trailer for Halloween Ends, I saw Corey and thought that he was a bully that would cause Allyson to lean into the shape more. But even though I was wrong, I was kind of right. Allyson dates Corey, and she even tries to protect him from Laurie. Now that I've explained my theories and showed that they were obviously disproven, let me get into the meat of this video. How Halloween Ends should have ended. I give 2 stories for this idea, one where Corey does not exist and is based on the ending of Halloween Kills and nothing else, and the second ending where Corey does exist. Let's begin with the one with Corey, since I think it's the weaker of the 2. As much as I wanted Corey to take over Michael's place, it was just too obvious, and that's why this is the weaker story, because it isn't obvious, with a twist. The film follows the same story and introduction. Corey is just a casual dude babysitting and the accident unravels, leading Corey to become what he is now. He meets Laurie and Allyson, falls in love with Allyson, and chooses to protect her upon discovering Michael. But this is where the story changes. Corey does not get found by Michael. The shape finds Corey and leads him to Michael. This entity is trying to get Corey to take Michael's place as an outer third party rather than from within Michael. So naturally, the tension is there, and Corey wants to prove himself to Michael so that he will teach him how to harness and be controlled by the shape. So, same story mostly. However, Corey will get the mask from Michael earlier in the movie, rather than it being a climax piece. Corey starts killing as protecting Allyson, but the shape is teaching him bloodlust, and that makes Corey crave the darkness, and he knows he will not surpass Michael until he takes on the full persona. So he proceeds with the same fight we see in the original film, and he stalks the night as Michael Myers, but nobody knows that it's Corey. He will have a moment where he stalks Laurie, much like he did in the original, but recreating the exact scene of him slipping behind the bushes with Laurie walking away. I can't remember if that's in the original movie or not, but it should happen either way. This shows Corey taking on the legacy of Michael, and it is perfect fan service. A slippery part of the story is if Corey should repeat the pattern of stalk, kill, then go home and return to Michael's childhood home, or the house where the first kill for Corey happened. He does this in the movie, and it makes sense for Corey as he is mirroring Michael by returning to the site of the first kill, but for the shape, it makes sense for him to return to Michael's first kill site. Regardless, Laurie should not show up while Corey is there the way she did in the movie. Yes, she is suspicious of him, but the way she stalked Corey was somewhat out of character for her in a strange way. I get that they were trying to show her backtracking on healing, but it really just made her unbearable during this film because she hindered Corey's spotlight. And maybe that was supposed to happen, but I didn't like it. So the movie continues, a kill here, a kill there, and then finally Laurie gets involved like she did in the original, luring Corey in with a fake sewer slide. Sound it out. But she would not be able to fight him off so easily. She can easily repeat the pattern of jabbing him with a knitting needle and making a snarky remark about that being the item nearby. Or maybe not, it depends on the mood. And Corey is down for the moment. That's when Allyson comes home after trying to find Corey when she sees the scene of Laurie having demasked the presumed dead Corey. She herself will take on the shape for a moment and attack Laurie. While the viewer is distracted with the scene, Michael returns and gets his mask, and rather than killing Corey, he will go straight into the attack on Laurie after she fights off Allyson. Naturally, Allyson is confused and will look back to where Corey was, but he's gone. So she tries to help Laurie. However, the fight should somehow knock Allyson out, or Laurie tells her to get help, and so Allyson is not present in this moment. And Laurie will pretty well get Michael down for the count, but he will come back at the last second and kill her. Yes, our Scream Queen will die, and in her dying moments, Corey will come up behind Michael and also kill him. Which it would be extremely eerie if Corey is unmasked, while he's unmasked, that he tells Michael that it's time to rest. And then, when Michael is dead, Corey will don the mask and forever stay in silence. Now is when the weaker part comes in. Allyson. What happens with her next? Well, there are two ways it could go. Now, since I'm a sucker for Michael Myers and Corey, I would love for Corey to let Allyson live and her forever be distraught about it, but in terms of a story standpoint, it would make more sense for Corey to be gone, and it would only be the shape in his mind, and therefore he would attack Allyson, and she would escape. This would repeat the process of the original series, so there's actually a third option, because we really don't need another set of the same movies. So Corey will simply off Allyson, and he will continue as the Shape's machine. And we could get some sort of ending, like the beginning of Halloween, on where little Michael's being taken away by the police, and that would make for some good metaphors. However, this is the lacking story, and that is why the second story is so much better. R.I.P. Corey, you are the best Mako replacement. The second story goes as follows. A few years have gone by, like the original. Allyson is healing slowly from the trauma of losing so many people in one night, and now living with her grandmother, who is also healing. Allyson, however, can't see eye to eye with Laurie, as Laurie didn't lose her parents to Michael, and Allyson is jealous of Laurie, learning to love while Allyson has just lost the man she loved, despite her trying to get Laurie out with this man anyways, knowing it would be good for Laurie mentally. However, with so much time alone and going in and out of a job where she isn't respected, she resents Laurie healing and has a moment where she argues with Laurie and tells her that Laurie should have died to Michael and not her mother. Laurie is rightfully upset by this and lets her rage get the best of her, and she tells Allyson that she might as well be just as bad as Michael. Allyson gets mad at this and runs away. Laurie instantly feels bad and tries to follow and find her, but instead she finds Michael after following the call of the Shape. In an attempt to get away or kill Michael, she unintentionally sets Michael loose on Haddonfield once more. When she gets back home and barricades herself inside her home, she remembers Allyson, who is then locked outside, but Laurie is cautious of Allyson being alone or not. However, after giving in to Allyson's pleas, Laurie lets Allyson in, only to find Allyson being held by Michael. This is the first time we ever see Michael let someone go in pursuit of somewhere else, Laurie. He is so blinded by the Shape's rage to kill Laurie that he ignores Allyson completely. This is the part of the story that is flawed, but the ending is what matters. Once again, Allyson just doesn't fit in the story, and even in the original, she kind of disappears at one point and just helps Laurie get rid of Michael. However, in this story, Allyson takes the back seat while Michael and Laurie fight until closer to the end when Allyson tries to save Laurie by attacking Michael from the back, and he knocks her off before he finally gets Laurie down. But Laurie manages to trick Michael into thinking he has won, and she instead kills him in that moment. But Michael has the energy for one last blow and kills Laurie at the same time. Allyson tries to get to Laurie, but she is dying in her arms, and at this point the cops have arrived along with the townsfolk to rid Haddonfield of Michael. As Laurie fades and dies, the familiar song of the Silver Shamrock theme plays as we zoom out from the scene as that it gradually fills the screen, until we are met with an old TV screen going black, and the reflection of shows the three masked children on the ground with the bugs. Then all goes black. You could easily end here with roll credits, but after becoming attached to Corey, I think we should see Corey be the one of the townsfolk who finds Michael, finds his mask, and takes it for himself. As he's walking home, he's looking at the mask, and a saucy couple in a car drive by and splash him with sidewalk water. Corey looks down at the mask and begins to put it on, clearly resembling Michael in every way possible. Then the camera turns to see him in front of the side, and he clicks his view to the left, where he sees the Myers house and walks towards it. Then all goes black, and like the original, Don't Fear the Reaper plays. I would have loved to see more of a callback to Halloween 3. I know there are a big amount of Halloween fans who don't like that film because it has nothing to do with Michael, but you need to be more open-minded with a series like this. I firmly believe that Halloween was a large title with many small projects underneath it, and I believe that Silver Shamrock was the king over it all, with Michael being the star of the show. Unfortunately, we'll never see that multiverse line where Silver Shamrock was pursued, and I can't say I'm upset about that. I personally love the direction Halloween went after the release of 2018. I just wish that parts of Kills and Ends were done differently to make it less about side characters and more about Michael and Laurie ending it all. The introduction of Laurie's family worked well and added Allyson, who I think was a great addition as not only a callback to Jamie from Halloween 4 and 5, but also as a good plot point. Allyson had to be there. And it's very interesting that Michael specifically goes after her, and even the soundtrack has a song dedicated to that relationship called The Shape Hunts Allyson. Which is probably the coolest theme song I have ever heard besides the main theme. But notice how it's called The Shape, and not Michael Myers Hunts Allyson. This is another part of the evidence that makes me believe that Allyson was meant to be some sort of stand-in to be possessed by the Shape, or have some sort of relationship with it. And that's probably why Michael offed Corey in the final movie, because the Shape wants Allyson dead, unlike Corey who wants to protect and love her. Which, while I'm talking about this, the Corey and Allyson relationship was so cute in a really dark way. I personally thought they were going to make it. As horror fans know, it's very hard to make legacy movies and characters that don't flop or ruin the entire franchise. However, I believe Halloween did a fairly good job, and these canon movies are some of my spooky month comfort movies. But that doesn't mean I don't have issues with directions taken in the canon story. I feel like these last two movies were a redo and a conglomerate of the past films, fitting in as much as possible while still being realistic with the timeline of events and story. They explain away the sibling thing with Michael and Laurie being just another hoax to make drama, but the townsfolk still continue their rage towards Michael and go after him in the most redneck way possible, which is much like they did in Halloween 4 and 5. That is not to say that these are the same movies. Trust me, Halloween 2018 through Kills are god tier compared to any of the original series. But you can see the direct inspiration, and it's nice to know that the new films pay homage to the original while still making a better story. And that's all I have for you today. Let me know your thoughts on my story ideas in the comments, and if you have your own alternative story, tell me in the comments and maybe I'll make a video out of it. With credit, of course. I hope you all enjoyed this video and analysis from me, and if this video is something you would like to see more of, be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you never miss a Dexterly upload, and give this video your support by simply liking, leaving a comment, and sharing this video with your friends. But if you really want to help a small artist out, check out my other social media platforms linked in the description below and in my About page, where you'll also see a link to my Etsy shop, where I have plenty of fun stickers to choose from, and if you make a purchase of 2 or more, you get free shipping and a short video dedicated to your purchase being packed away. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.